Well, the weather's definitely warmed up here in Jacksonville, in this area, but has it warmed up, has the housing market warmed up for home buyers? Well, not when you look at these headlines. Worst sales since the 1990s? I'm going to dive into that. I'm going to show you a graph. We're going to look back from the 1995 until now 2024, so you can see what's been going on in those years, the peaks and valleys, and see where we're at. And we are basically in a sales crash. Okay, but I'm going to show you another chart that's just going to like spin your head around like Linda Blair. Okay, so we're going to get to all that. Hey, you know what? This show is Bubble Watch. This is where I go over the Jacksonville metro area housing market. It's the longest running weekly show that takes you back into the MLS up here, the Northeast Florida MLS. I'm just a regular guy who happens to be a real estate license, and I take you into the back end of my MLS account to show you these real numbers in real estate. In fact, this is where I look at all these numbers from. Right here, as you can see, this is the back end of my MLS account, and I'm going to put a report together for you tonight that shows the active listings. That is your inventory. We're going to look at what's active under contract. Take a look at what went pending in the last 7 days. Going to look at what sold in the last 7 days. Also take a look at that new home sales data to see what's sold there and what their inventory is. Now I export all this data in, and it comes, from there, and it comes into an Excel spreadsheet that looks something like this. So there's a lot more data than what I just went over right there that I'm going to show you here tonight. But because that Excel sheet looks so confusing to look at, I condense it into my own Excel sheet that looks like this, that makes it easier for you to read and be able to compare week by week and year by year, because I'm in my 3rd season of doing this show. All right, now what we're going to do while all these numbers are crunching out, let's take a look and see what those interest rates did this last week. Okay, here we are going to look at the rates, and all the rate charts start off here at this location here at the bottom. That's where we ended up last week. And then they all have the arrows in the middle showing the difference, the change up or down. Over here on the right shows past that is where the rates were last year at this time. And then over here on the far left are the dates. All right, so we see last week we ended up at 7.12, and we've got some green arrows down moving in the right direction, but not a lot, but still in the right direction, where we ended up at 7.05, so we are down from last week. The FHA rates are generally a little bit less, and they follow the same trend. Was at 7.53 last week, ended up at 6.45, so they are also down. And we look at those VA rates, which follow pretty close to the FHA. We were at 6.55 last week and ended up at 6.46 this week. All right, even though the rates did come down some, we're still in those 7s, okay, for a lot. Now, remember, those are with, like excellent credit, okay? Not everyone falls into that. And so we'll have to see. What was it, last week or the week before or something like that? I said it's not all about the rates, it's the price of the house. But I will tell you, if rates come down into the 5s, there will be more buyers out there because it pushes them into where they're able to buy. But then again, the insurance and taxes may kill the deal. We'll see. So right now, let's get into those Excel spreadsheets. And these Excel spreadsheets, what I'm going to do is go over all that data. I'm also going to separate the condos out of that and show you Excel sheets for the condo information, because there is definitely a big condo crisis right now in Florida. And in my Excel sheets, I also show weekly the median sales price of homes and the median price per square foot. And then I pull a zip code out and I show you the sales data for that zip code, and then also what's for sale. But I do the median sales weekly. A lot of charts will come out, you'll get from monthly, but mine are as it happens weekly, okay, real time. You don't have to wait for another month for it to get the data. I do it every week for you, and then you can look back on my chart and calculate the monthly if you'd like to. So right now, let's get into those Excel spreadsheets. All right, here we are into my Excel spreadsheets. And this yellow right here that you see, this column here, this is your current week, okay? That's what we're focusing on right now. And then you see the other yellow columns, that will be the previous weeks. As you can see, the other columns there. Now, the white column directly to the right of the yellow column, that is the previous year. So that is the exact year ago, so we can see year over year, and that's what the YOY is. That is the percentage of change. So you see right there what the difference is, and you can follow it for the last couple weeks. Also, over here in the blue, SFH, that's single family homes, where I pull the single family homes out of this and just show them directly. Now over here in this column shows what those different rows stand for. As you see, active listings, sold, active under contract, and so forth. So let's get started with this week's numbers, and we see right here active listings, and that is your inventory, 9,535. As we can see, it has been climbing for the last couple of weeks. Sold, 356. Okay, that is up from these last couple weeks, definitely. But when you look at last year at this time, it's down quite a bit. Okay, so almost 25%. All right, active under contract, 1,061. So that has climbed. Pending, 331. That's also up for our total under contract, 1,392. Now let me point out, active under contract, that status there, those are the ones that are under contract, but they have contingencies. So the contingencies could be waiting for an inspection, an appraisal, or financing, or selling another house, any of those. After the contingency clears, then it goes into pending status, and after pending, then it goes clear to close. All right, next down here we go, withdrawn, 62. These are people whose listings are active listings. You just can't show them. A lot of reasons are, usually, and right now especially, there's been a lot of flu going around. People in the house are sick and they just don't want showings. And you don't want to be in a house when people are sick anyhow. Expired, 114. Those are the homes that actually did not sell and they went off the market. New homes sold, 98. So we see we've got a continuous climb there, but look at last year, 189 last year. So this is a big drop from last year at this time, almost 50%. New homes active, the active inventory, 2,243. Now this orange, I like this. This shows the percentage of homes sold that are new construction. And it has been gradually climbing up these last few weeks, that we got over 27.5% of all homes sold this last week that closed were new construction homes. I'm telling you, I mean, that is really the place to go to. I mean, when you're looking at, having to deal with insurance, okay? You just don't have the insurance problems you have with the used homes. And then over there in the other column in the blue, you see the single family homes, and you can see all the numbers there that correspond with that, including down there in the orange, where it's almost 1/4 of the homes sold were new construction and single family also. All right, how did people pay for these homes? Okay, as we can see, the cash has gone up these last couple weeks to where we're over 28.5% of all deals were cash. Conventional mortgages at 39%, FHA and VA around 14%, and others dropped some to 2.81. Now these numbers right below here, these are the actual units sold. So as you see, we had a total of 356 units sold, and these are the ones, 102 were cash, 140 conventional, 51 FHA, 53 VA, and 10 were other. Okay, as I look at the foreclosure numbers, now these are foreclosures that are status foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, and short sales in the active listings. They aren't the total for Northeast Florida. Okay, we see the foreclosures 131, pre-foreclosures 22, short sales 43. So while we did have a drop in the short sales, we had an increase in the others, so the total comes to 196, so there is an uptick this week. All right, here's where I look at the homes that sold under list, at list, and above list, the percentage of homes that sold for that, and we see we're still up there pretty high of homes that sell an under list, 80.9. Now homes that sold at list dropped a little bit to just over 10, and homes that sold above list at almost 9%. Below you see the numbers for the actual units sold. Now again, the ones that sold above list, I'm going to be showing you a little bit later here in just shortly coming up as we go through these charts, where you see the amount that they went above list, and it's really not a lot anymore, okay? You get a few that are multiple offer situations where they bid it up. A lot of these are concessions. People want concessions paid for buyers' closing costs or real estate fees, and so they will give an offer above the asking price and that. Now, when you do that, you just got to make sure it appraises, okay? Otherwise, you didn't get anything. Okay, next I look at the price categories. Okay, homes that sold for $500,000 and above, we look at the percentage sold. So we see over 1/5 of all the homes sold were over half a million or above. Homes that sold in the 400s, a little over 16.5. Homes that sold in the 300s, almost 24%. Homes that sold in the 200s, okay, almost 25% there, or 24.5. And homes that sold below 200 at 13.76%. Again, the numbers below are the actual units sold in those price categories. Right, when we take a look at the new construction, we see here that almost 80% sold under list, homes that sold at list, a little over 11%, and homes that sold above list, 9.18. And I'm kind of surprised that those above list are holding at those numbers there. So it just depends on where it's at and the model. Sometimes when there's a model that's not being built more in a neighborhood, then it does gather a premium price. Right below is, again, the actual units that were sold at those prices. Okay, here's where I look at those median sales prices. Okay, single family homes, the median sales price this week was $385,552 at $206 a square foot. The townhomes came in at $252,990 at $193 a square foot, and the condos came in at $218 at $182 a square foot. And you can just look back and see, what it was the previous weeks there, and to see, if the trend is up or down. Okay, this is where I was telling you we're going to see how much above list width, but I'm also showing how much below list, the list price, and above list. Now, the first column here is the type of home it is. The second is the original list price, okay, what they listed it for. The list price is what they reduced it to, and then the closed price is what actually it sold for. Now, this difference is the difference between the sold price and the original list price. And then I also include days on the market just so that you can get more information. I'm going to scroll this, and then you can pause it as you see fit. And you see we've got a lot of them below list, okay? When we get to that 0, then that's when we're going to get to that the ones that sold at list. And you see days on the market, they're really like all over the place, Some of them it just could be where the house is and the location and maybe the style of the house and not necessarily the price. And then there's our 0, so those are the ones that sold at list, and then there you see your days on the market. Okay, for the list priced ones, and then here's the ones that are above. And like I was saying, you see some of these, they're not that high up, so a lot of those could be like the closing costs, or the concessions. Okay, now as you start getting a little higher, okay, when you start getting over $10,000, then that can be a different situation. It could be multiple offers. It could be multiple offers even at $5,000. So it all depends. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do here is I look at the zip code, and as you see on this map here, you can see where that zip code is in reference to, the city of Jacksonville. And this one here is the Fleming Island area, and the zip code is 32003, okay? And what you're looking at here is the homes that are actually, active listings. Now we look at the ones that were sold, and this is the homes that were sold in that. So now let's go put those into the chart and see what those numbers look like. All right, here is the ones that sold in that 32003 zip code in Fleming Island. And you can see at the top the headings on what it is, the type of home, the original list price, and then the sold price. And of course, the difference on these is the same as the other. The difference is between the closed price and the original list. Days on the market, the price per square foot, and then the type of financing, the year of the home. As you can see, it's Fleming Island in Clay County, Florida. The living area is the square footage of that house, and then I show also the bedroom totals and then the bathroom totals, and then we break down the bathrooms by full bathrooms and half baths. And if the real estate agent put it in the MLS, then I show it here, the size of the lot and whether it's new construction or not. Okay, so what if you want to purchase a house in that Fleming Island area? Well, let's take a look, and this here is what is for sale, okay, in there as you saw on that map. And again, you know, the headings at the top pretty much describe what everything is. You can see there the days on the market, but this here also shows the addresses, the lot sizes, whether it's new construction and all that. And you see the original price, and then you see the list price, so that's what they've reduced it to. So you can see this one right here, the top one has been reduced from 520,000 to 445, and it has been on the market for 314 days. Okay, so that's how you follow it. Now I'm going to scroll this so you can take a look, and you can always pause it. Now, if you would like the MLS sheet on any particular house that you see here, then just send me an email to this email address right here, and we'll get that sheet out to you. Okay, now I'm going to quickly go over the condo stats for those that are interested in the condos. And if you're not interested in condos, you can just skip this part. But we do have some people that are interested, and because of the condo crisis that's going on in Florida, basically has to do with them having to have reserve funds for repairs, after that other collapse a few years ago. And then also, and what has happened is assessments and HOA fees have drastically increased. Some of them doubled, some of them tripled or more, to the point that some people can't afford living in their condo no more, where they've been living for years, okay? And they have to sell it if they can sell it. All right, so these charts are pretty much the same as the others. There are going to be some differences you'll see, but I'm not going to read them all off. I've got it there for you to look at, because it follows pretty much along the line of what the other ones were. And this here is your main chart. Here we take a look at the financing on how it is, and generally condos have a higher percentage of cash financing than anything else, just because financing requirements are a little more strict on that, because it doesn't go by necessarily your credit rating and all, it goes by what the rest of the people that live in that complex are, whether they're delinquent in HOA fees or taxes, or their mortgages, behind in mortgages. I also look at the sold under list, at list, and above list for the condos, and of course those numbers below are the actual units sold. This here shows again the price categories I'm showing for the condominiums also. Nothing new in the new this week, so we move on. Okay, this here is because of the new rules that say 3 stories and above, and also like 25 to 30 years or older, have to deal with these new rules. If they're 2 stories, then they don't. And now we're talking about stories of the complex, not the actual unit. So just for grins, we track this to see if there's any trend going the other way towards the lower ones, and I haven't seen that. But here you see the total stories of the complex and how many units were sold. That's in the yellow. I'm just going to scroll that because we got a few that were higher up there. We got one that was 38-story condo. Okay, so there's our total of 25. And because of the year, I do break it down and show you. These are individual condominium units. So we see right there the ones that were 1-story units. One was, built in 97, another one in 87, another one in 74, 2007, and so forth. I'll scroll that too for you so you can see. As you can see, last week we don't have the numbers because we had a glitch in calculating that. Here's the counties to where those condominiums were sold. It's because somebody in the Northeast Florida MLS, that's a member of that, sold out of the area. A lot of times these are usually like Volusia County, which is over there, Daytona. Then I also show the list here, the original list, the list price, close price, the difference, and the days on the market for the condominiums. And I'm going to scroll this for you too. And there wasn't much there because there was only 25 units. Hey, if you like the way I put this show together, where I put all this data for you to figure it out, I'm not talking about if you like the numbers, because I know some of you don't like these sales numbers. But if you like the way I put everything together, then give me a thumbs up for the program. And if you want to be part of this show, Bubble Watch Nation, then hit that subscribe button. We come out every Friday night at 6:30, comes out with a new video. All right, now Now we're going to get into what is called MLS Advantage. Okay, this is where I look at a bigger picture, because this Jacksonville Metro is basically 9 counties. Some people will say 7, but I think it's 9, and it's these counties right here that you see on the screen. Okay, what I do is there's several other MLS boards around here. Mine's Northeast Florida MLS, which is the biggest one. That's where all that data you just saw came from. But some of these others cross-sell into different areas. And then also, you know, I cross-sell into other areas too. So I take all the sales data from all these other MLS boards, even the smaller ones, and total it up for you to give you a broader picture of these 9 counties, what's going on. Then I also put that into an Excel spreadsheet by county to show you how many sales are per county, because some people just have an interest in Clay County, some may have an interest in St. John's or Flagler. I mean, Duval, of course, is Jacksonville itself, and I put all that together for you. So right now, let's get into MLS Advantage. All right, here we are into the back end of MLS Advantage, and here we are at the 9 counties: Baker, Union, Bradford, Clay, Nassau, Duval, St. John's, Flagler, and Putnam. And then over here, I hit the search button, and it comes up with 472 properties. All right, here we look at when we put all those numbers of the counties together. We see we got the total of 472. We had 1 in Baker, 0 in Union. Bradford had 5, Clay County 57, Nassau 27, they dropped a little bit. Duval went up 187, St. John's 116, Flagler 66, Putnam almost the same there at 13, for our total of 472 for MLS Advantage. All right, we're going to get into all those headlines and everything too, but first off, just want to remind you, I am a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida, and I do work with a select group of agents to help people buy and sell homes up here in this North Florida, Jacksonville metro area, okay? And they are a select group because I handpick them myself, and they work with me on helping customers, you know, buy and sell up here. Okay, so let's get into these headlines. In fact, this house I'm standing in front of is a house that is for sale, and if you like the looks of it and would want information and want the MLS sheet, then just give me, just send it to my email address right here, and we'll send it off to you, the information. All right, lowest home sales since 1990s, okay, which is true. Take a look at this graph here, which shows you from 1995 to 2024. All right, here we look at a chart that shows existing home sales. Now, it doesn't go up to today's. As you see, they go up to September of 2024, which is okay, because actually we had a little more of a dip, I think, and then it started to go up slightly, but not much. So this gives us a good idea. But take a look at this. They're saying back from 1995, which would put us right about here, where this dip was here. And then look where we're at here today. Now look at this. Here is where the big crash was. Here was that peak, and then all the way went down 2008, and 2009. Of course, we had a surge uptick because there was a lot of foreclosures and people were buying. But the thing to notice is the slope. Look at the slope from here, okay, back there in 2008 era, 05 when everything was hot and then it dropped, to here when everything was hot, around 2021, and then dropped. And look at the slope. They're right. The sales are absolutely horrible. And when you look at this chart compared to the 2008 slope, we are in a home sales crash. Okay, when you look at all that, we are in a housing crash, but for sales. Because take a look at this graph, which, shows that, things haven't gotten any better price-wise. So here we look at, and this just doesn't go with the home sales crash. Now this chart goes from 1995, you see here, all the way up, and it looks like about the same around September, October of, 2024 as the other chart. But look, as the other crashed, the sales, what's happened here? The reverse. The prices have gone the other direction. And we see that, in this area here where it was like around, 2005, there the peak to 2007, 8, 9 and 10. See how things went down, but here things have stepped up. So what's going on? All right, now I want to show you an article that explains a little bit more about all this. So let's take a look at this article and see what they have to say. Well, here's an article from AP, okay, and it's pretty recent, January 24th. Okay, as we go into this article, we see a spot here where they said that right here, the weakest showing for home sales since 1995 and edging out the terrible year for sales in 2023, okay? And then they go on to say, even in the midst of a sales slump, a dearth of homes on the market and rising mortgage rates have sellers on an edge over buyers, helping drive up the national median home price for all of last year to an all-time high, $407,500. That's close to $500,000. Here they say, how is it possible that home sales can be this low considering that the U.S. population has increased by more than 70 million over this time period from 1995 to today? Okay, here they go on to say the available inventory at the end of last month amounts to a 3.3 month supply. Going by the current sales pace, it's in a more balanced market between buyers and sellers, there's a 4 to 6 month supply. This means that the problem in U.S. housing market continues to worsen in terms of availability of homes for sale and the upward pressure on home prices. So even as we see inventory going up, it still isn't enough. Right here, limited inventory, especially in the more affordable price range of a given market, helps drive prices higher. And that's one reason many first-time home buyers who don't have any home equity to put toward their down payment continue to struggle. So as you see, it's an inventory thing. Even if the sales are down, it's still not enough. And they make a good point here. Limited inventory in the affordable price range. There just isn't a, and I want to go beyond that and even say not just limited inventory, but quality inventory. I've seen so much stuff that, I mean, needs so much work, and then insurance problems on top of that for some of these homes. You just can't get them insured. You know, I saw also another article that said that the average age now of a first-time home buyer is like 38. Almost 40 years old for a first-time home buyer. I bought my first house when I was like 25. I mean, and it's just gradually going up. I mean, because it's just a mess, because there's too many factors now. Like we say, it's not just the price of the house, the interest rates, it's the insurance, and it's the taxes, which, you know, the taxes, they really got to get a grip on that. You know, unless in Florida that you're moving from one house to another, you get really jammed, okay? And other states are even worse than Florida on that as far as the taxes, but then the insurance here, you know. But I'll tell you what, insurance is going up in a lot of other states too. I see the articles on that. Yeah, there's some that have better insurance, but there's still a lot that are getting nailed just like Florida is, okay? So, you know, you've got to try to put all this together. I started this show in 2022, and the reason I started it, because everyone said the market was going to crash in 2022, because that's when the rates are going up. It didn't happen. They said it's going to crash in 2023. It didn't happen. They said it's going to crash in 2024. Didn't happen. Now they say it's going to crash in 2025. So I'm here, again, bringing it in my third season and seeing what's going to happen. And I give you the numbers, and I let you decide. Hey, you know what? This is week 38, and it is in the can. And until next week, I'm out of here.